Hello and welcome to On Tap, the Patreon exclusive video podcast series, which we're doing a little preview for on our main channel. So lucky viewers of Board Stupid can get to see a little bit of this. And the reason that is because it's a very, very special one. Before we introduce our guest for this particular video, of course, I'm going to quickly introduce my co-host, the Italian Stallion, the Caesar of board games, Mr. Matteo Genovese.
Hello, guys. Yeah, we got a really good one today. We're very excited about it, and
Absolutely.
he might pick something at behind my shoulders that maybe is gonna give you a little hint. But yeah. Wayne, if you want to do
that's a very well placed game there, Matt. I like it. Welcome along, Mr. Mitch Wallace. If you want to give us the quick pitch, tell us who you are, and let the people in who haven't figured it out what you've designed.
Sure. I'm Mitch Wallace, and I'm the designer of Art Society. It is a spatial puzzle art auction game, and it came out in 2023, and it's currently having a Deluxe Kickstarter right now. So in Art Society, all the players take on roles of art, I guess, aficionados. They care about art, but they care also about being the trendiest. So they're collecting art, getting on the gallery wall in their house, in their drawing room, and they're kind of chasing trends, and they want to have the most prestigiously in vogue collection by the end of the game.
Love it, love it, love it. It's me and Matt's favorite game, I think, pretty much from 2023. We absolutely adore the game. It's
we consumed the game, we can't wait for the deluxe edition to come out, just because I need new pieces, because we use it so much.
We have used that game.
We're actually gonna have our faces on one of the boxes, isn't it, Wayne?
I think so.
It's the weirdest things ever, but I love it so much.
If you're a follower of our Instagram, you'll see, and I'll actually put a link below in the description. The Mighty Boards team put us on a little some artwork, which is amazing.
This is how much we love the game, and how much. It's a fantastic game. Was one of the 2023 best game, and kids being played a lot in our houses. So
it certainly does. So Mitch, I'd like to start really by asking about how that collaboration with Mighty Boards came about, because as far as I understand it, this is your first published game. So how did you get in touch with Mighty Boards? What did that process look like? How did they get interested in it?
Sure. I think the simplest way or I think it's a pretty simple story. They went to, there's a convention in the United States called PAX Unplugged, and PAX is a series of conventions all across definitely the country. I think they at one point were in Australia, and they're mostly video games, but they have one every year that's dedicated to board games. And I've been going to that since 2021, and then in 2022, that was Mighty Board's first year there. And I guess that part's not important, but basically the last day I was running around trying to talk to publishers, and they were on my list because I liked the production value and the art value that they had made for their games. And an art game needs good art. So I was talking to a few people, or pursuing a few publishers that I knew consistently did good art, and they were on the list. And so I was talking to them at the very last day of the convention, and swung by and talked to David and showed him what I had, and he was pretty interested, and we just kind of kept talking from there.
That's great. And we spoke to David about you as well some episode ago, so for the people who can go and watch that episode as well, because he's a really nice guy. We really like what the ethic that Mighty Boards got behind their games, and how they treat the people working that is fantastic. So that's match made in heaven, I would say, for you, Mitch. But my question for you is, Art Society has been such well received by the general public. What do you think that resonate the most with the players in the game? What do you think? How that magic happened? What do you think? You might have an idea about it. Do you think it's the fact that the art is so beautiful and the mechanics is so good, or what do you think that brought a lot of people to buy the game? Because Mighty Balls, we can say they sold a lot. Otherwise, there would have not have been a deluxe version, probably.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's done pretty well. I would say, okay, it's difficult to pinpoint one thing because I think what it actually does is it does a lot of different things. And so what it does well is it brings in different types of people to play the game. It does have a lot of really good art, and the people there's it was kind of like designed to be a cozy game. And so for the players that want that cozy game experience where I'm happy to collect art, put it on my wall and play with that kind of spatial puzzle, and deal with the shapes. And like a lot of people, when they get done, they feel their board, they feel really good. It like that's part of that was like baked into it. And I know so many people that play it just for that experience. And before the game came out, at PAX, there were two really great play tests that I had. And one person said, when this game comes out, if it comes out, I want the art to be so good that I don't care if it's the right piece for me to win the game. I just want it because it's awesome. And when the game came out, I've heard that that's happened so many times that people are happy to collect the art because they just want that piece on their wall. And so it does that really well, because you can just kind of be immersive in that space. And then the other side of it is, I think that for those players that want to be strategic, that want to be aggressive with their gameplay and win, it also suits those players very well. Um, as an anecdote, the other tests. So in the at PAX, there's these different parts of the convention, and one of them is an unpub room where designers bring their unpublished games to get tested. And so that's kind of one of the things that I'm referencing. And so I had two really good tests. One, people just excited to do that spatial puzzle, and then I had another one that it was kind of like, oh, this is the, I think, quintessential like dichotomy of the game. There was four players, and there was this one woman just making the most nice and neat, orderly, um,
Wall on there. Yeah.
spatially like refined board. And then across the table from her was this guy that was making like a Swiss cheese board. Like there were holes everywhere. And everyone and the other people are like, what are you doing? You're gonna have problems. And he's like, no, I just need to make sure that they don't touch. And his eye was 100% on the market.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, we have two different player types going on at the moment, and it was so great. And then the woman that was being so orderly, she actually lost by 2 points, and she made a faux pas just to complete her wall. So she got the final. She completed her wall, got the final like 5 points, and then the other person won. And then her feedback was that the completing her wall should be worth 3 points more because she wanted to win by. And I was like, maybe you shouldn't have gotten the faux pas, like internally, right? Like,
Yeah.
are you feel better player? Don't do the faux pas, like the one like puzzle avoidance kind of rule in the game. And the other person was, it was really interesting to see that kind of dichotomy. And then I've seen and heard so many different other player types that have been attracted to the game and how different people play it. So I'd go with that.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, because when me and Wayne plays with our partners, it's very much a cutthroat game. It's literally like it gets very competitive. But then when we play with other people, it goes way more relaxed, and it's more like we played with people that never played board games, for example, and they pick it up immediately. And it's the auction side is fun, building your things is fun. Sometimes you don't need to look too much at the market. When me and Wayne plays, it gets a little bit more rowdy, I would say. It's like,
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I think you're right. It does. It appeals to both sides of the hobby sphere. If you want to be chill, you can be chill. If you want to be a little bit more aggro, you can do that, and really cutthroat outbid people, which is great. I think it's a fabulous thing. Um, and yeah, it's definitely resonated with us as well. And I like that you said, Mitch. Like some people just play it because they like the art and they want to do that. And I've seen people just, I want to pick all of the animals that I see. I'm going to put all the animals in my art. And I think that's
Mhm.
fantastic. So let's talk about that mechanical design. We've mentioned it a few things there about the bidding mechanisms, about the tile placement, about the patterning, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
Are there any games that inspired the mechanical design of Art Society? And was the theme the driver of the mechanisms? Did you have art first? Or did the mechanisms, so the tile laying and bidding, come first and then you put the theme on top of it? What was the main driver?
Sure. Um, I could answer the question directly, but I also don't feel like it's one to one. So the game came out of another prototype I was working on that was like visually or mentally complicated. People said this is like too much. Someone said it was like 3D Sudoku, and they're like, simplify it. So I made it like 2D Sudoku, and then and then players were like, there's too much information on the cards for what this game is. And I thought, oh, that's almost so poignant because there were some other comments, but that was like the root of it. And so I thought, well, what's a setting? Or yeah, there was a little brainstorm session, and then there was this and then if kind of like what's a setting that would match what we were doing in the game, like what was important for the components. And a salon wall came up in the brainstorm, and that was it just really resonated as far as the mechanisms, but then also at the same time, I mean, I have a background in graphic design, art direction, and advertising. So I went to school for um, that, and so did my wife, and so we're kind of in that like art perspective of things, and so that was like the pinpoint. Oh, this is what this game could be. And then I didn't work on it for 2 years after I made those notes, and I went to go design other types of games, and I learned, and I picked up other different like gaming styles from trick taking and auction games and dice games and roll and writes and all those sorts of other lessons that you get from those. And then when I came back, I didn't like any of my notes. Like I could follow my notes one to one. I was like, I could do that, but looking at what a salon wall is, because the other game was made up of, of entirely squares, and I was like, I could do that. That just doesn't feel right towards the subject matter because salon walls are full of all these different rectangles. I was like, we got to get that in there, right? And using that as a jumping off point. The other thing had like a rondelle or a pick and pass sort of thing, so I was like, well, let's throw that out. And then what makes sense with art? I was like, well, an auction. And that was very resonant from some of like the trick taking aspects I was working on and pulling from. And uh yeah, so a little bit of it was, so it's like there was mechanical, then setting, and then how to make the setting work with the mechanical. It was like back and
so it's a bit
forth.
of back and forward between the two things. Right.
Yeah, yeah. And then as far as the, I guess influences, I've played a variety of spatial games, but probably a lot of like polyomino games, not early, but Uwe Rosenberg games, Cottage Garden, Summer Meadow, stuff like that. And then uh there's a lot of spatial games that are about adjacencies, and those are great, but I was wanting to explore a different way of scoring, and also because it's art, like why does it matter if a portrait is next to a landscape or anything like that? I think per the subject matter, it didn't make sense to copy any of those types of mechanisms. um and I came across games like hats and bites and harvest dice, and they had this really interesting multiplier system, and that was a place to go from.
Mm.
And then just kind of general auction games and other things of that nature. Yeah,
Amazing. I
it
like
was
that
it's
there was this kind of cyclical, both feeding each other. That's fascinating. Genuinely.
yeah, it's like an iterative process, I'd say. But yeah, I think sometimes I've made things where like this is what it is, and or like this is the subject matter. How do I make this subject what matter work? And that's all it is. But sometimes, actually now I think about it, I think a good number of them it is a ping back and forth. Sometimes it's mechanical, then the setting, and then it's kind of like reevaluating, do these mechanics make sense with the setting?
That's fantastic. And staying on the feedbacks and play testing and all that stuff. Now, I want to know a little bit more about the future because yes, there is an Art Society Deluxe version with everything is deluxeified. It looks amazing.
Link below.
It's live now on Kickstarter. It's already been founded, but it's rolling and rolling because it looks absolutely beautiful. But there is an expansion as well. And I remember when we met at Spiel last year, that is the first things that we asked you. Are we
So
getting an
then-
expansion?
Where's the expansion?
It's just I want more art. I want more tiles. Give me more.
More stuff.
Give me more.
More game.
So can you tell us what is the expansion about and what is he adding new mechanics? I know it's for sure he's adding more art, but what else is in that box?
Yeah, the expansion that we're going with first is one that's going to be really deepening the gameplay. Um, from some of the feedback that we heard from reviewers and other people, it was um, players wanted goals. They wanted more to think about from the upfront, and also a way to make things more competitive. So this expansion has 2 or 3 different characters in the game, and they're all going to add something different for players to be thinking about, and for that's also going to change the reward system in the game. And so, such as the socialite will have um, these different spatial puzzles, typically spatial puzzles. Sometimes it's what you collect, but spatial puzzles about how you arrange your art, because that's what's in vogue, and that's how the art society cares about what you have. And when you and those are all going to be races. The first person to complete that thing, whatever that is, maybe it's the first person to collect a size 3 decor, then you get the rewards, or at that card. And the rewards could be straight points. They could allow you to gain the ability to swap with a museum, kind of without impunity, um, and just less restrictions. It also allows you to get decor, and then there's some other things, allow you to adjust the prestige of the market, and also then there's like 1 or 2 tokens in there that you can avoid a faux pas if you've collected it. And that's really interesting, because you're going to collect that either because you've already made a faux pas to get yourself out of it, or you want one, and that's going to allow you to not be penalized for it.
Hmm.
But it's kind of risky. Every time people have, since I've introduced it in the expansion, people have often not collected it because they because they're like, I didn't necessarily uh think I would need to make one. And then when the one person that has collected, they're like, I've just so habitually avoided it that I didn't think about to do it aggressively or on purpose. And so those are the kind of like token rewards that you're going to get, that kind of going to help you throughout the game. And then there's the curator, and these are all characters that are kind of in the fiction of the world. Like, these are people that have given you the hookup because you're doing something that's kind of impressing them. They're like, hey, because you've done that, let me help you out with this.
Hmm.
And so in this scenario with the curator, you do some sort of spatial puzzle, and then you're gonna get an ongoing ability. Most of them, like one or two of them, are instant abilities, but most of them are ongoing abilities that are going to kind of break the game in a way as far as how things are manipulated, how you collect decor, and some other things. So there's and yeah, so there's that.
It
Yeah.
sounds like a lot of meat.
I am.
there.
I am.
I
I
can't
am
wait.
thrilled. I am
This is
thrilled. 'Cause,
it's great. It's just like it gets you more cutthroaty. I love it. When I guess there is a bit for everyone, because all the stuff that you mentioned sounds like it's gonna be more for the gamers to make the game even more like
competitive.
deep and competitive, but at the same time it's going to be for the cozy people that just want more art, I guess, at the same time, because it's going to be filled with new art and all the or in the art society style that we really love.
Yeah, I think it's. I'm thrilled to bits because I think that was one of the things that I said I wanted. As I wanted, I wanted like objectives and stuff, and that's exactly what you've. Well, not yeah, pretty much what you've made. I'm thrilled. I can't wait to play it. I am dying to get my hands on it. I've got to wait a little while, but I'm very excited. But obviously, the design of something like that, Mitch, must have come with some challenges. So you're designing an expansion for a game. What are the things? What are the challenges that you may have encountered when trying to make this expansion?
It's a great question. I'm I'm not sure what the challenges are actually, because it's just like it's going through the process. I created a variety of proposed expansions,
Mm.
and Mighty Board selected this one as the one they want to be pursuing, and then from there it was a matter of kind of honing in, and that's just kind of a part of the process. I could say that's the challenge, but that's just a part of the process of I mean, there's two ways to create. And one is you have a lot of ideas and you edit, which is what I prefer to do. Or the other one is you have a base idea and then you need to say, no, we need more, we need more, we need more. And that can take, then it's just like constantly adding and adding and adding. And so this process was coming up with the abilities and then figure out what abilities makes sense. What are abilities that people want to do in the game? We've created some that I think recently kind of fell off the chopping block. Either people didn't like never pick them, and they were just like, it's fine. Just I'd rather because there's always an option in art society of what you're going to be selecting, and so it's like that one's fine, but I'd rather do any of these other four over that one. And so it's kind of been the process of trying to curate the right list of abilities and the right list set of rewards for what the socialites is doing on each card to make sure that the reward matches with the difficulty um or is enticing enough to do something first over something second, anything like that. So I guess maybe the balancing, I guess. But there's been a lot of tests. I've done more tests for the expansion than the base game, which is kind of silly, but it's been a fun process of just like really getting to know the game so well.
But you don't want to break the game, so you want the expansion to be balanced and enjoyable. Because we saw in the past other games made some of the expansion just say this is a different game now, or it's just like, oh, this breaks the core game. So I think there is the challenge there. So
Yeah, that's a really great thing to bring up because there was definitely some discussions about either what's the right first expansion and also who is this expansion for and and what's the audience. And so we don't want to like alienate not original players, but the fan base of the first game so much, however we define who they are, because yeah, it should augment and enhance the first game and not or the base game and not be something entirely different. And I think I also probably proposed one or two that might feel like an entirely different game, but you can play them that way, which is fine. We'll see if they ever come out.
Yeah, it's fascinating that there's been more play testing for the expansion than the base game. But as you said, it kind of makes sense. You've already got an existing successful product that is well liked and has been well received. And the last thing you want to do is break it, right? So it makes sense to some extent that you want to spend more time on that expansion to make sure they enhance and elevate the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
also sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that some of the cards, we need to make sure that they're possible because they're all objective based. We need to make sure, like, test the difficulty of them. Are they too easy, or are they too difficult? Like, I just kicked out. Someone made a suggestion of like, oh, it'd be cool if you could do this. And for a while, I was like, I'm not sure I want to try it. And then I tried it. I was like, oh, that took me half the game to do, and I was focused on it from the beginning. That takes way too long, and you have to set it up um kind of a very particular way. And so a lot of the cards that were in the game, I want that, like, if you mess it up, you can pivot and try again. And that card was, if you mess up, oh, you probably didn't get it at all.
I
So
see. Yeah. Okay. So
yeah,
yeah, it makes sense. You don't want stuff that is going to basically tank your game if you get it wrong.
yeah, yeah. It was
All right.
that was a weird test, and because we were all going for it, and then as soon as we did it, we're like, all right, that's done. Let's play the game we normally play or focus on other aspects of the game. But that one's not in there. Don't worry about it. And but it's finding the right balance of things that are going to give you enough direction and incentive um and creative play. That's also something I'm really big on. So yeah.
Fantastic. So you mentioned a few times there, Mitch, and it's like tickling the back of my brain that you've done like a bunch of different expansion ideas, and I'm like, oh wow, that sounds cool. I'm wondering what might be next. So I've got to ask the question then, like, is the plan for you, or is the ideal scenario for you that there will be more expansions, more variants? I assume you're not done with Art Society after this new version, or maybe you are.
Rolling dice, feeling nice. Cardboard dreams and game schemes. Click subscribe, it's a vibe. Horse soup, it's all we need.